Michael Cohen refusing to leave the United States. A perjurer lies again? Oh my goodness, who could believe it? I know you're shocked. But Molly Crane Newman, who writes over for the New York Daily News, reached out to Michael Cohen after Trump's historic victory and said, "Hey, Michael, are you going to be leaving the country because you said you would?" Remember, Michael Cohen sat down, vowed to leave the United States if Donald Trump was reelected. Wow. He's going to leave? You're kidding. Here's what he sounded like. Let's get some volume on Michael Cohen.
I'd leave the country.
There'll be a lot of people who will watch this and say, okay, listen, Michael, you've clearly had a falling out with Donald Trump. Isn't it a little bit dramatic saying you would pack your bags and leave the country should he be reelected?
Why should it be? I'm telling you that I fear for my safety. I fear for my life. Again, you don't know Donald Trump. I do. And Donald Trump, don't listen to my words. Listen to his words. He will exact revenge on anyone that has done him wrong.
Okay, so you're going to leave then, Michael. You're definitely going, right? Molly Crane Newman reached out to him. "Are you leaving like you said you would?" He said, "I have no intention of leaving my country." Oh, man, he lied again. Are you serious? Recanting a previous statement that he would do so if Trump won. Oh, Michael, he's not going anywhere. Isn't that just a shame? He said he'd leave. This was all over the place. He said he'd change his name if Trump won. Guess what? Trump has won, and he's sticking around. He says, "I'm out of here, man. I'm already working on a foreign passport with a completely different name." Remember this? Says, "I don't know how it's going to work as far as dealing with my wife and kids," because Nicole Wallace asked him, what about your wife? "I don't know how that's going to work," he says, "as far as my wife and kids. But I certainly don't want them moving where I'm looking to go." Where's he going? The remarks came in larger discussion about the New York Times reporting that Trump's going to go after his enemies right as Steve Bannon gets released from custody. The ex-attorney turned on his boss after he needed to lie to save himself from the corrupt DOJ. He's not going anywhere. We've also got E. Jean Carroll. Remember her? "I tried to tell you." What? Tried to tell us what, E. Jean? "I tried to tell you." She's sad. Apparently, someone says, "You'll never get your money now." That's the sad truth. She says it's not about the money. Joseph McBride has another comment. He says, "Look, lady, please, come on. What are you talking about?" Now, the truth is, Trump is the most powerful Republican president of the modern era. And this is a fun article because listen to how Axios phrased this. Says Donald Trump has vanquished the Bushes, the Clintons, the Bidens, and the Obamas. He's vanquished the entire establishment of both parties. Let's go. Now, they say Trump is stronger than ever, backed by a party wholly remade in his image and opposed by demoralized and defeated Democrats. And make no mistake, Trump will come to power better organized, better staffed, and exponentially better positioned to dominate his party and the nation than he was last time. You better believe it, baby. I'm looking forward to it. Now, Trump promises to stretch the powers of the presidency with a friendly court. A new conservative media ecosystem around X is going to amplify his power, and efforts to prosecute him are going to come to an end. Yeah, we're going to recap that tonight. Trump's victory was astonishing in its sweep. All but two states, Washington and Utah, went more heavily for Trump than before. He was backed by a remarkable 1 in 3 voters of color. That's weird. I thought they said that he was a fascist, racist, bigot. He improved over his 2020 performance with younger voters, Black voters, and Hispanic voters. Amazing. Biden won Latino men by 23 points in 2020, but won them by 10 points. Trump won them by 10 points. Look at that swing. A 33-point swing. Wow. Though roughly half of America opposed to Trump is left with little solace and even less federal power, Trump's romp flipped the Senate to Republican control, and GOP is on track to keep the House. Democrats are left without a leader or a clear ideological identity. That's okay. They're very dynamic individuals. They'll make something up. After Vice President Harris ran a campaign light on ideas and heavy on emotion, like joy, she underperformed Biden. Now, Trump can brag about this new coalition. And okay, here they go with their litany of petrification. What's next? Trump sources tell us he'll consolidate power. You better good. It's great. He won. Trump won says a lot about how he'll govern. They say Trump will be Trump. He'll leverage his new base. He'll destroy traditional media. Oh, gosh. Oh, this is going to be so good. He's going to pound the woke, whatever that means. So we're excited. Now, you can see that is a fun article from Axios. Now, Kamala, we're learning, is such a faker that in her concession speech, which we watched live yesterday, apparently she stole most of it, or at least the solid framework, the infrastructure was plagiarized from Hillary Clinton.
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for.
This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for.
Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition.
Last night, I congratulated Donald Trump and offered to work with him on behalf of our country.
Over the 107 days of this campaign, we have been intentional about building community and building coalitions, bringing people together from every walk of life and background.
We've spent a year and a half bringing together millions of people from every corner of our country to say with one voice that we believe that the American dream is big enough for everyone.
To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed. But please know it's going to be okay.
It is going to be okay. It's going to be amazing.
I hope you will hear this.
On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win.
This loss hurts, but please never stop believing that fighting for what's right is worth it.
All right. So interesting there, right? Very similar in style, tone, and words, because Kamala is fake. We've all known that for a while. There were a lot of recriminations happening yesterday. And what's been very interesting to watch is the blame game. Everybody's pointing their fingers at each other and calling, I think, their own people racist and bigoted, like their own audience. I think the Democrats didn't show up for their candidate as normal. So it's a strange thing that's happening. It's a strange dynamic. It's like they're lambasting America that voted overwhelmingly against their ideologies. Do you think lecturing people and calling them racist harder is the strategy? Is that the idea here? You just got obliterated. You're going to double down on everything that just failed? Okay, that's fine with us. Yeah, keep going.
Frederick Douglass would be so proud and admiring of Kamala Harris. He did not just fight for the right to vote for black men when only white men could vote. He also fought for the right to vote for all women. When he was editor of the newspaper, The North Star, Frederick Douglass wrote, "We hold woman to be justly entitled to all we claim for man." That was a very unpopular opinion among white men in this country at that time.
What?
And it remains an unpopular opinion among some white men in this country to this day. It may be that not enough people in this country yet believe in the full equality of women to elect a woman president of the United States.
Wow. All right. You white men misogynists out there. This is strange because I thought they were blaming white women yesterday. Weren't they blaming white women? Weren't we just scolding all the white women out there? Hey, somebody just said, I can't believe you've done this. I thought now it's our fault. But the article we just read said it was Latinos' fault. And then the other part of that article said it was the blacks' fault. I don't know whose fault it is. Very complicated out there. It's definitely not their ideology, though. It's definitely about gender, race, religion, and everything else. It's not their bad policies and their failed ideology. Truth is, Trump won a mandate. We're looking at 312 electoral votes, baby. Nice numbers. We like those numbers. Here's Trump's team.
And this is a tough speech to give. I can definitely feel for Kamala Harris and what she's going through. But there was a very positive conversation that Kamala Harris had with President Trump earlier today. And I guess this is where I felt that Kamala Harris's speech left a little bit to be desired. There was the initial comment helping with transition. But what I would have liked to have heard is something about working together with President Trump for how we deal with some of the crises that are impacting our country right now, whether it be the economy, whether it be the border, whether it be these international threats that are upon us. And instead, I felt like this sounded like someone who wanted to set their political future very much on the front burner, so people knew that she was going to be back in politics. Now, to be clear on this, Brad, this speech may have been Kamala Harris's moment, but this election is President Trump's time. And what I mean by that is the fact that he won with this overwhelming mandate, the fact that he won the popular vote, 1 out of every 3 votes from Americans of color, 300 electoral votes. That is a mandate for change. And President Trump is going to step in and deliver, whether you're Republican or Democrat. And I wish that there had been more from Kamala Harris to say that she wanted to work with President Trump to accomplish that. But as we see already, that President Trump is restoring our standing on the international stage. America is respected again because of this election, and it's going to pay off for everyday Americans.
Yeah, I don't know that Kamala will be back. She may try to come back, but I don't think people will be happy with her on the left. They'll recognize that she tried to moderate aggressively, and it'll look like a total flip-flop if she tries to run again in a primary for the left. So I think they'll find some other role for her. But a nice statement from the Trump team. We'll see what Kamala ultimately does and what the White House does. This was a nice message from the Richard Nixon Foundation after the Trump victory. You may have seen this, got 1.1 million views out there. It came from Richard Nixon Foundation, another man who I'm learning more about, and about Watergate and about how that looks like that was another operation rigged by our own government. But here they posted this. Congratulations, Trump. President and Mrs. Nixon sure had it right. President and Mrs. Nixon sure had it right. To Trump from Richard Nixon, December 21st, 1987, 26 Federal Plaza, New York City. Dear Donald, I did not see the program, but Mrs. Nixon told me that you were great on the Donahue show. As you can imagine, she is an expert on politics, and she predicts that whenever you decide to run for office, you will be a winner. With warm regards, sincerely, Mr. Donald Trump. It's so interesting to see these things, isn't it? This is a DM. This is an old DM. He just DM'd him. Hey, Donald, great job on the show. It's amazing. Nice congratulations from the Nixon Foundation to the president as he emerges victoriously. All right, it's fun stuff. All right.